Hey guys, how you doing? This is a little bit of a different one. This one is because this is a bit of a WTF kind of moment today. So, couple of bits of background before I get into it. This is an experience I had today, and a couple of bits of background before I get into it because this one's really perplexed me. This one. Okay, so all right, couple of bits of background here. So the first one is I've been called pretty much everything under the sun, and I'm pretty familiar with all of the various internet troll derogatory terms that kick around. I'm pretty familiar with a lot of them because, I mean, this vlog is pretty small. Like, there's like 30 of you. Thank you very much to everybody who watches, by the way. You know, like I've got my I put myself out there, and I do that, and I know that when you do put yourself out there, you have to have a pretty tough skin. You know, in my November 24 was in my sort of athletic self, quasi-athletic self. I do my Instagram where I talk about the challenges of being a diabetic, much as what I do here on the blog, and the challenges of trying to manage being a type 1 diabetic, international relationships, athletics, training motivated, weight loss, all that kind of stuff goes in like. And then in my other self, my big November 24 self, on my other channel, I put myself out there. I go to conferences, and as I said, I really have been called everything under the sun. If you can think of an insult, I've been called it. So I'm pretty familiar, and I've got a pretty thick skin, and I'm pretty au fait with call me whatever you want. I really don't care. So that's the first bit of background I want to say to this one. The second bit of background here is it may seem a bit odd. So, this was a bit interesting because there's such a societal stereotype and stigma behind this, but the adult entertainment industry, in whatever form you want to take it in, is a fundamental part of human existence. Whether you like it or not, it's a fundamental part. And producing content, whether you are, whether you're actually a sex worker, whether you work in the adult entertainment industry, video content producer, whatever. I mean, it's legal. It should be legal in places like America because America landed the free and religious zealots. But anyway, moving on. But it is what it is. Like it is literally the oldest profession known to man. And it, I was married to a stripper for several years, and I dated day one. We got married, and she was a backstabbing bitch. But anyway, it's an issue for another time. But her choice of career, it had nothing to do with that. I have a lot of friends who work in that industry, whether it be as performers, whether it be as workers, whether it be as cammers, whatever. I mean, hell, I was in that industry. So it's been a really interesting thing watching, especially here in Queensland, also here in Queensland, here in Australia. So here in Australia, where sex work is legal. It slightly varies state to state about what some have to be, some is licensed, some just has to be registered, some is decreamed. It varies state to state, but overall it's legal. It's been interesting that in the wake of this whole COVID-19 rubbish, that in the plan, the sort of the grand plan that all the governments and everything are rolling out at the moment, to move forward and to claw their way out of the depths of the pandemic, and they're sort of specifying at what levels and what time frames and what conditions are in order for various jobs, places of work, restaurants, home retail, commercial retail, office spaces, whatever, where, when they can open up, what time, what position they can open up. What's been interesting is that I think, at the very least, Queensland, Victoria, and New South Wales jurisdictions, all three of those have explicitly said that all adult entertainment venues are to remain closed. Even after the final stage of restrictions is all lifted, those venues must remain closed, which is interesting. And look, there will always be, and that industry will always incur members of the community who don't agree with it, which is fine. You don't have to agree with it. That's fine. But at the end of the day, it's usually it's two consenting adults, and that's what it is. So, and that's there's concerns there I have about various impingements on choices and rights as an adult, of various religious and crusty old white guys making decisions for me based on their morality that is skewed of something based out of the 1940s. So that's been interesting, and that's sort of like the background of that. And as I said, I know a lot of people, and I have circles of friends who are either who have previously been active in the industry or are still supporting those who are in the industry. So, I keep abreast of it. So anyway, now, so that's the background to this. To put this into context of what happened today. So what happened today, it was just scrolling through Facebook as you do. And there was a post in a forum. I can't even remember, in one of those Facebook groups. I can't even remember which group it was now. And somebody put on there a post about how OnlyFans was potentially going to shut down adult entertainers and take them off their platform. So for those who may not know what OnlyFans is a platform where you can, as an artist, as a content creator, you can put content out but put it behind a paywall. So you create art, videos, image stills, whatever you want to create, and you put it behind a paywall. So that Patreon's the exact same thing at the end of the day. Where if you're a subscriber and you're paying a monthly contribution towards the artist, then you get access to that content. OnlyFans has developed following because they've been open, and they've positioned themselves as being welcomed to the so-called not safe for work artists. So content creators who are creating video content, nude or implied nude or something perhaps more explicit. Yeah, you have to declare what it is. Like, you have to put an age rating on it appropriate to your jurisdiction, stuff like that. But they welcome people to that platform. They do that, and it's a way for. At the end of the day, it's as I said, it's an artistic platform. It's a way for artists to get paid. Much like myself, I have a Patreon page where I put content that is exclusive to. If you're a Patreon member, you get certain things exclusively from me, which is either previews of content that will eventually be made freely available, or you'll have your way input to say about what I'm going to do in the future. Anyway. But it's a way for it's another way for artists to be able to survive, and it has a focus on adult content, and the so-called not safe for work content. Anyway, so lately there's been a push by certain conservative members of the global community to sort of shut it down, much in the similar way that Tumblr banned nudes and not safe for work content from its platform. And somebody posted some tweet or something about, copied a tweet or basically saying, what did everybody do? Piss off over OnlyFans. I just basically made a comment because I'm sort of, said it's unfortunate that I made a comment something to the lines of that, it's unfortunate that the society that we live in essentially is threatened when particularly minorities, particularly young, particularly women, take an opportunity to become an entrepreneur and successful and actually, go on a journey of something that they enjoy and, basically make money out of being entrepreneurial and taking opportunity. And basically, old white guys don't like that. And so they work really hard to try and shut that down. And the response I got was interesting. And I had, one of the things was somebody saying, that I got it wrong because, OnlyFans and Twitter is owned by owned by old white guys. And it's like, so I'm totally wrong on that. It's not all white guys don't do it, and I acknowledge that, and I responded to that, and I was like, okay, look, I acknowledge that I use a generalization there because at the end of the day, I'm an old white guy. But they said it was referring to the fact that the people who take offense to this, and the people who are trying to stop women and minorities from actually getting on ahead in life, are people in positions of power, which are generally rich old white guys. Particularly, case in point, in America and Australia. So that was that. But that was the one and only attempt by anybody to even engage in a conversation about the topic. Straight after that, it was that apparently that I'm the next one was actually the one that we're going to talk about in a second, but then it degenerated very quickly into like, I'm just a sucker, I'm a feminist bitch, I don't know what I'm talking about, I'm under the thumb, and I'm kind of like, okay. But the first one that really for this was the one that got me, and it was this guy called me a simp. Now, as I said, I've been called pretty much everything under the sun at some point. In a way, I take a perverse kind of pride in it, in a perverse way. Anyway, but that was a new one to me. I hadn't heard that one before, and I'm like, okay, this is obviously an insult. What is it? So I Googled it. What is wrong with our society? What is wrong with our species? And I'm literally and as I said, I Googled it, and it came out with a few things, and basically it's a anti-feminist slogan that is essentially is it's a slang expression used to ridicule males who are perceived as being overly invested in a woman and acting submissive to that person. And I'm like literally, I made no comment about anything other than it's us. It's the reason why people try to shut it down is because they don't want women to go ahead. I'm not going to get anything out of this. I'm not trying to get sex out of this myself. Like I would like to get laid right now, but my fiance is kind of 9,500 miles away right now, so that isn't going to happen anytime soon. But it's kind of like, what the hell? Like, why does it have to be that sex has to be the story behind it? What is this? And apparently, Simp is an acronym for sucker in idolizing mediocre pussy. And I'm like, what the actual fuck is going on with this? And it caused me to go down a bit of a rabbit hole. And I'm like, because here in Australia, like we see a lot of stuff, especially on American TV, because rightly or wrongly, a lot of news is very American-centric. So we hear about things like incel, and we hear about things like, men's rights activists and movements and stuff, and we see, there's some power symbol which apparently is that, or I don't know, something like that. Apparently that's some men's pride or men's supremacy thing, I don't know, white supremacy or something, I don't know. But it was just going down the rabbit hole of it, and unfortunately we see it here in Australia as well, but we don't see it to the degree we see in America. And what was fascinating is it was just bizarre that in this day and age, if you pay someone a compliment, that is meaning that you are subservient to someone. Like, something that a friend of mine taught me a long time ago was that, and through my own lived experience, is that life's short. Give compliments. If you see something or hear something that you appreciate, whether it be art, whether it be somebody's choice of clothes, whether it be somebody's smile, whether it be, anything, just be a good human, give them a compliment, tell them that, they help make your day a little bit better. Because, funny story, those little compliments, those little things are what keeps people alive. Funny that. And it's just like, but now apparently, if you're a male and you give, especially a female, a compliment, then apparently you're subservient to them and you're just trying to get into their pants, because that's not what real manly men do. I'm like, what the fuck is this shit all about? Like, don't get me wrong, like, I think that there are some, and it was, as I said, going down the bit of the rabbit hole of some of these manifestos and crap that's behind some of these movements. One, it's terrifying, by the way, and it stinks of eugenics. And pseudoscience. But look, but the thing is, I can also see how enticing some of these things can be. So, because, and I do believe that there is a institutional slant and institutional bias against males when it comes to separation courts. I do fundamentally believe that. You only have, but the thing is, you look at the data and you'll see that. So I think, so that's the thing, is that because a lot of these and it's because these things have this tiny kernel of truth in there, they can build and pull people down this rabbit hole. It's scary, like, it's terrifying. But it just, what happened to being a good human? And the thing I wanted to raise about this is that the comments that basically came through was just this continued vitriol and diatribe. So instead of actually engaging in a conversation, like I said, there was one guy that actually sort of presented a slightly different opinion, but even attempted to actually, back up his points of view with a conversation. Everything else was straight away to name calling. It's like you're 2 years old. Okay, maybe not 2 years old. Maybe 5 years old. 5 years old in the playground, saying that you stink. Like, is this what we've come to as a people? Is this what we've come to as a species? Is that we can't get our minds wrapped beyond a concept or a vocabulary and a mindset that we're supposed to leave behind after puberty? Like, and what happened to actually having reasoning conversation? And the frustrating thing is that I'm sure that all these people that spouted all this misogynistic and, quite frankly, downright evil, some of the things they were calling people to do to each other, was like, pretty sure these people are also going to be the ones that, many of them, unfortunately, are probably the ones that would be the waving their, shaking their fists and going, I demand my right to free speech. But the problem is that the thing about free speech is that it works both ways. You have the freedom to say what you think, absolutely, but I also have the freedom to say what I think. And both of us have the right to be able to do that without fear of persecution, without fear of retribution, without fear of ridicule. And why are we not engaging in a conversation about this? if you have a differing opinion from me, that is fine. In fact, I actually want to hear your differing opinion, because I want to learn why is it that you have a particular different a different worldview about this topic, or this this economic ideology, or this political ideology, or this religious ideology. What do you mean? I want to know what your thoughts are, what your opinions are, because that knowledge and that knowledge exchange, if we actually exchange knowledge in a polite and respectful manner, then that will actually enhance both of our lives. So anyway, as I said, it threw me, actually. Like, I'm not offended by it. I want to say I'm not offended, but what the fuck? Anyway, hope you guys are all doing well. I wanted to touch on that because that one floored me, and I really wanted to cover that today. So, hope you're all doing well. Stay safe, and maybe we'll talk about something a bit more positive next time. Maybe. Okay. Take care. Bye.